Good afternoon, everyone. I, Dr. Surekha, Professor, HOD, and Event Coordinator, welcome you all on behalf of Rajasthan Vidyapeeth Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Udaipur, a constituent unit of Janardhan Rai Nagar, Rajasthan Vidyapeeth, deemed to be university. For second edition of third day, students online seminar session 2021 from Department of Anatomy. Education open up the mind, expands it, and it allow you to improve your life in so many ways. With this quote, we will start the program with the blessings of Almighty and His Highness Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor, and Colonel S.S. Sarandev, Sir. Once again, I welcome our Honorable Principal, Sir, Dr. Ameya Goswami, Sir, Principal of Rajasthan Homeopathic Medical College, Dabok, Udaipur. And I welcome all HODs, staff, friends, parents, and thank you for joining this virtual session. Now, I would like to request our respected principal, sir, to chair this session and address today's gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shri Madam. I'm very happy that Anatomy Department is continuing aiming and encouraging our students to present their paper. And I'm also giving blessing to my students, Rita Arora, Sakhi, Somya, Sivaran Das, Vidushi, Yogesh, Devangi, Sev, Nidhi, Sima. Very happy that the students are well prepared and trying to give a good presentation. And thanks to Organic Anatomy Department, Dr. Surekha, and all the faculty members for this good organization. Please carry on, madam.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to call on Dr. Lily Madam, HOD of the Mater Medica Department. Please address the students. Lily ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Suddenly,
yes,
आपने मुझे बुलाया, अच्छा लगा. Thank you so much. And फर्स्ट ईयर के सारे स्टूडेंट्स जो इतनी अच्छी तरह से प्रेजेंटेशन कर रहे हैं, उन सबको बहुत बहुत बधाई. आप इस तरह से एक प्रेजेंटेशन करने से अपना ओवरऑल जो डेवलपमेंट है वो भी एक तरह का होता है. एक बार हम स्लाइड एक प्रेजेंट करते हैं, लेकिन उसके पीछे काफी मेहनत होती है. तो वो मेहनत स्टूडेंट्स ही अपनी मेहनत को समझ सकते हैं कि उन्होंने काफी लग के, आज तो प्रेजेंटेशन 2 मिनट का होगा, 5 मिनट का होगा, लेकिन उसके पीछे रहने वाली जो मेहनत है उसी से हमारा ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट होता है. सो विश यू गुड लक टू ऑल स्टूडेंट्स एंड एज वेल सुरेखा मैडम जो हमको इतना मोटिवेट कर रही है. ठीक है, थैंक यू मैम.
थैंक यू सो मच मैम. Ready for the presentation, online presentation. First students, all are ready, student?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, permission.
Hi, Reet Arora. First
Yes,
student, Reet Arora. Share your screen.
Yes,
yes, I allow for the screen. Yeah.
Is it visible?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, respected principal, sir, teachers, parents, and my fellow classmates. I am Reet Arora, a student of Rajasthan Vidyapeeth Homeopathic Medical College, and today I am going to present the topic Anatomy of Inguinal Canal on behalf of Department of Anatomy, guided by Dr. Surekha ma'am. I'll be covering the following topics as displayed in the index. Moving on to the inguinal canal, they are found in the inguinal region that extends from the lower abdomen to the medial part of the proximal thighs on the each side. This is basically an oblique intermuscular passage whose length is 4 to 6 centimeters, and it extends from the deep inguinal ring to the superficial inguinal ring. The deep inguinal ring, it is located just above the midpoint of the inguinal ligament and lateral to the epigastric vessels, and it is formed by the fascia transversalis, which is a layer of connective tissue which lines most of the abdominal cavity, the superficial ring, that is the terminal end of the inguinal canal, and it is located just superior to the pubic tubercle. Moving on to the boundaries, the anterior wall in the whole extent includes skin, superficial fascia, external oblique aponeurosis, and the lateral 1/3 part includes fleshy fibers of internal oblique. The posterior wall in the whole extent includes the fascia transversalis, extraperitoneal tissue, and the parietal peritoneum, and the medial 2/3 part includes conjoint tendon, and the medial end is reflected by a part of inguinal ligament. The roof, it is formed by the arched fibers of internal oblique and transverse abdominis muscle. The floor is formed by the grooved upper surface of inguinal ligament and the medial end by lacunar ligament. The sex differences. In female, the inguinal canal includes the round ligament of uterus, genital branch of the genital femoral nerve, and the ilioinguinal nerve. In males, it includes the inguinal canal, consists of spermatic cord and the ilioinguinal nerve. The development of inguinal canal. It is basically created by the outpouching of peritoneum, a peritoneum diverticulum, which is called processus vaginalis. Now, during the development in both the gonads, in both the sexes, the gonads descend into the pelvic cavity. There, the mesenchymal cells form the gubernaculum, which attaches to the caudal end of the gonads, which terminate in the inguinal region. The gubernaculum, the pathway which is formed by that, the gonads descend along that pathway, and the testes descend between the processus vaginalis. The processus vaginalis normally regresses, with its distal part forming tunica vaginalis, that is the covering of the testes, and subsequently the connection and the opening between the abdominal cavity and processus vaginalis closes, but failure to do so can result in indirect congenital hernia. Next, moving on to the structures passing through inguinal canal. In males, the spermatic cord and ilioinguinal nerve, and in females, round ligament of uterus and ilioinguinal nerve. Now, the components of the spermatic cord include the ductus deferens and artery to it, testicular and cremasteric arteries, lymph vessels from the testes, remains of processus vaginalis, pampaniform plexus of the veins, genital branch of the genitofemoral nerve, ilioinguinal nerve, and sympathetic and visceral afferent fibers. And the coverings are internal spermatic fascia, cremasteric fascia, and external spermatic fascia. The clinical anatomy, hernia. It is basically a condition where an internal organ pushes through a weak spot in the muscle, or in simple words, it is the protrusion of abdominal contents through any of its walls. It has three parts: sac, contents, and coverings. Sac, it is a protrusion of peritoneum, and it has two parts, neck and a body. The contents are the coils of the small intestine or omentum or any other viscera. The coverings are the layers of the abdominal wall. Types of abdominal hernia, there are major two types, internal and external hernia. Internal hernia is a rare and lethal condition. Here, the protrusion of intestinal loop occurs in the no entry zone of peritoneum. It occurs in the either epiploic foramen, or it may also occur in the paraduodenal recess. Here, the loop mostly gets strangulated. Now, the external hernia, the most type of hernias are external hernia. This means that the protrusion is towards outside of the body, which is a bulge that is visible. The types of external hernia are umbilical hernia, that is due to the non-return of midgut loop back to the abdominal cavity. Epigastric hernia occurs through the upper wide part of linea alba. Paraumbilical hernia, loop of intestine protrudes through the linea alba around the umbilical region. Femoral hernia occurs more in females as the pelvis is larger, and surgery is essential for that treatment. Lumbar hernia occurs through the lumbar triangle in the posterior part of the abdominal wall. Incisional hernia, it occurs through the anterolateral abdominal wall, where some incisions were made for surgery. Acquired infantile umbilical hernia, it occurs due to the weakness of an umbilical scar. A part of the gut may be seen protruding out. And divarification of recti, it occurs in multiparous females, the females who have given birth more than once, with the weak anterolateral abdominal muscles. Now coming on to the inguinal hernia. The most common type of hernia is inguinal hernia, and it is more common in men as women. It extends here, the intestine extends to a weakened area in the groin or the scrotum region, causing a bulge. And the symptoms include bulge in the groin or the scrotum that may create a burning or heavy sensation in that area. Now, the two types of inguinal hernia are direct and indirect. The causes are weakness of the muscles and ligaments of the abdomen, chronic cough, constipation, hard physical work, pregnancy, frequent weightlifting, overweight, frequent sneezing. Direct hernia, it occurs through the posterior wall of the inguinal canal through the Hazelback's triangle, which is bounded by the rectus abdominis muscle, inguinal ligament, and the inferior epigastric artery, dividing it into lateral and medial parts. Coverings of the lateral inguinal hernia are extraperitoneal tissue, fascia transversalis, cremasteric fascia, external spermatic fascia, and the skin. And the coverings of medial direct inguinal hernia are extraperitoneal tissue, fascia transversalis, conjoint tendon, external spermatic fascia, and the skin. Indirect hernia, Here, it occurs due to partial or complete patency of processus vaginalis, and the coverings are extraperitoneal tissue, internal spermatic fascia, premasteric fascia, external spermatic fascia, and the skin. And here the sac comes out through the deep inguinal ring. Thank you so much. And thank you, Surekha ma'am, for guiding me.
Reet,
Yes, ma'am.
are you hearing me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Tell me, define hernia.
Hernia is a condition where the abdominal contents protrude through the wall, any of the abdominal walls, or internal organ pushes through a weak spot in the muscle or a tissue.
Now, tell me the location of the inguinal region.
In the lower pelvic cavity, it extends basically from the lower abdomen to the medial part of the thighs on either side.
Okay. What is the difference between direct and indirect hernia?
In direct hernia, it occurs through the posterior wall of the inguinal canal, that is through the Hazelback's triangle. And in indirect hernia, it occurs due to complete patency, that is partial opening of the processus vaginalis.
Okay. Yes. Who is next? Good. Read good presentation.
Thank you,
Sakshi.
Yes.
I'm share karo screen.
Yes, yes.
Is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible.
Shall I start?
Yeah. Start.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I, Sakshi Budewar, a student of Rajasthan Vidyapeeth Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, constituent unit of Janardhan Rai Nagar Vidyapeeth, deemed to be university, is going to present the topic Anatomy of Shoulder Joint on behalf of Department of Anatomy under the guidance of Dr. Surekha ma'am. So these are topics I'm going to cover. Type, synovial joint, wall and socket joint. Articular surface, it is formed by the articulation of the glenoid cavity and the head of the humerus. That's why it is also known as the glenohumeral articulation. Structurally, it's a weak joint. Glenoid cavity is too small and shallow and can't hold the head of the humerus, as head of the humerus is 4 times the size of the glenoid cavity. As you can see over here that the head of the humerus is too big as compared to the glenoid cavity. So this thing permits great mobility. Stability of the joint is maintained by the following factors. Coracoacromial arch. This is the acromial process. This is the coracoid process. So these two processes are joined together by a ligament which is termed as coracoacromial ligament. So these three structures together form the coracoacromial arch. Second, musculotendinous cuff of the shoulder. So this is the sagittal section of the shoulder showing 4 muscles surrounded by it. Superiorly supraspinatus, anteriorly subscapularis, posteriorly infraspinatus and teres minor. Glenoidal labrum, which deepens the glenoidal fossa. So basically this is a musculocutaneous rim which covers the glenoidal fossa. Stability is also provided by the long head of biceps and long head of triceps brachii. Now ligaments. Capsular ligament, very loose and permits free movement. So this is the capsular ligament. It is least supported inferiorly, where dislocations are common which can damage the axillary nerve. So basically there is no such muscle attached inferiorly, so it is least supported. And as axillary nerve runs around the surgical neck, so during the anterior inferior dislocation, this axillary nerve tends to get damaged. Medially, capsule is attached to scapula beyond the supraglenoid tubercle and around the margins of the labrum. Laterally, it is attached to the anatomical neck of humerus with following exceptions. Inferiorly, attachment extends down to the surgical neck of the humerus. Superiorly, it is deficient for passage of long tendon of biceps brachii. Interiorly, capsule is reinforced by supplemental bands called glenohumeral bands. So there are 3 types: superior, middle, and inferior. Between the superior and middle, a foramen of Whitbread is present where anterior-inferior dislocation takes place. Second ligament, coracohumeral ligament. It basically extends from the root of the coracoid process to the head of the humerus. It gives strength to the capsule. Third, transverse humeral ligament. It bridges the upper part of the bicipital groove of the humerus. So tendon of the long head of biceps brachii passes deep to this ligament. Glenoidal labrum. It covers the margin of the glenoidal cavity. It increases the depth of the cavity. Now, bursa related to joint. Subacromial bursa or subdeltoid bursa. It basically separates the acromion process and the coracoacromial ligament from the supraspinatus tendon. It is present over here, and this is subacromial bursa. Second, subscapularis bursa, and the infraspinatus bursa. Now relations. Superiorly, coracoacromial arch, then subacromial bursa, supraspinatus muscle, and deltoid. Inferiorly, long head of triceps brachii, axillary nerve, and the posterior circumflex humeral vessels. Anteriorly, subscapularis, coracobrachiosus, and short head of biceps and deltoid. Posteriorly, infraspinatus, deltoid, and posterior fibers of deltoid. Within the joint tendon of the long head of biceps brachii. Blood supply, anterior circumflex humeral artery, posterior circumflex humeral artery, suprascapular artery, and subscapular artery. Nerve supply, axillary nerve, then musculocutaneous nerve, and the suprascapular nerve. So basically, suprascapular nerve continues into axillary nerve, and axillary nerve again continues into deep branch of radial nerve, which is also termed as the musculocutaneous nerve. Now it is a sagittal section of the shoulder joint, showing relations. Muscles bringing movements at the shoulder joint. Flexion by the clavicular head of the pectoralis major, anterior and the posterior fibers of deltoid and latissimus dorsi. Extension by the posterior fibers of deltoid and latissimus dorsi. Adduction, pectoralis major, latissimus dorsi, and short and long head of biceps brachii. Abduction, supraspinatus, deltoid, and serratus anterior. Medial rotation, pectoralis major, anterior fibers of deltoid, latissimus, and teres major. Lateral rotation by the posterior fibers of deltoid, infraspinatus, and teres minor. Clinical, the weight of the limb is transmitted from the scapula to the clavicle to the coricoclavicle ligament. This is the coricoclavicle ligament. And from the clavicle to the sternum through the sternoclavicular ligament. So some of the weight also passes to the first rib by the costoklavicle ligament. The clavicle usually fractures between these two ligaments. Thank you. Guided by Surekha ma'am.
Sakshi.
Yes, ma'am.
Good presentation.
Stop sharing.
Yeah, you stop. Yes. You tell me how this shoulder joint is formed.
Shoulder joint is formed by the head of the humerus and the glenoid cavity of scapula.
Glenoid cavity. It is a what type of the joint?
Glenohumeral joint, and is a ball and socket joint.
Why it is called as a glenohumeral joint?
Because it includes a glenoid cavity of the scapula and the head of the humerus.
Head of the humerus. Tell me the ligaments.
It is a coracohumeral ligament which extends from the coracoid process and the humerus. Capsular ligament which is lined around it, and third one is a transverse humeral ligament which is present between the bicipital group and the long head of the biceps brachii passes deep to this ligament.
What is the meaning of rotator cuff?
Rotator cuff includes four muscles surrounded around the shoulder: supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and subscapularis.
Tell me the movements of the shoulder joint.
Abduction, adduction, lateral rotation, medial rotation, circumduction, extension, and flexion.
Tell me what is the clinical importance? Very commonly occur in the clinical practice. Very common.
Very common is the anterior-inferior dislocation, which occurs at the foramen of Witt-Brecq. So, where axillary nerve gets damaged.
Why this dislocation is occur very common? The shoulder joint?
Because inferiorly no such muscle is attached, so dislocation can occur. Because superiorly supraspinatus muscle is there, anteriorly subscapularis is there, posteriorly teres minor and infraspinatus is present, but inferiorly no such muscle is there which can protect it. That's why if anterior-inferior dislocation takes place, it can damage the axillary nerve which runs around the surgical neck of the humerus.
Yes, very good. Very good answer. One more is reason. What is that?
One more, foramen of Witt-Brecq, superior and the middle, superior and middle glenohumeral ligament. There's a space which is termed as foramen of Witt-Brecq. So, if injury occurs, then anterior-inferior dislocation occurs.
Anybody? Can you tell me why this shoulder joint is dislocated very easily? Anybody?
Because of the great size of the humerus as compared to the glenoid cavity.
Very good, very good. Expected answer this one. Yes, very good. This is the main.
Thank you,
head of the humerus. Head of the humerus. It articulates to the glenoid cavity. When we compare that glenoid cavity to the head of the humerus, it is larger than the glenoid cavity. So that's why very easily is dislocated. Very good answer, Sakshi. Keep it up.
Thank you, ma'am.
Who is next?
Ma'am, Soumya.
Soumya, share your screen.
Ma'am, is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Good afternoon. Myself, Soumya Darshana, student of Rajasthan Vidyapeeth Homeopathic Medical College, a constituent unit of Janardhan Rai Nagar Rajasthan Vidyapeeth, deemed to be university. On the behalf of Anatomy Department, under the guidance of Dr. Surekha Patil, I would like to present my presentation on the topic arm muscles with its clinical importance. The arm is divided into two compartments or groups. First, anterior compartment or the ventral group. Second, posterior compartment or the dorsal group. Anterior compartment consists of three muscles, that is biceps brachii, brachialis, and coracobrachialis. Biceps brachii is a two-headed muscle, that is long head and the short head. Long head originates from the supraglenoid tubercle of scapula and the short head originates from the coracoid process of scapula. Both the head get inserted into the radial tuberosity of radius. They get its nerve supply from its musculocutaneous nerve. Its functions include supination of forearm and flexion. Clinical anatomy. This muscle is prone to repetitive trauma due to stress and overuse. Sports which involve racket like badminton, table tennis, or which involve throwing are more common to stress, which causes inflammation. Rupture is most commonly seen in the patient older than 40 years of age in association with rotator cuff injuries. Rotator cuff is a group of muscles or tendons which surrounds the shoulder joint. So, if biceps brachii is ruptured, dislocation of shoulder joint may also occur. Second, brachialis muscle. Brachialis is a long muscle that lies deep to biceps brachii. It gets originated in the medial and lateral surface of humeral shaft. It gets inserted into ulnar tuberosity. It gets its nerve supply from musculocutaneous nerve. Its functions include flexion of forearm at elbow. Now, brachialis is the main muscle which is used in upper body exercises such as pull-ups, and overuse of it can cause inflammation known as brachialis tendonitis. The brachialis muscle can be commonly injured by repetitive forceful contraction or muscular contraction. A strain to the brachialis tendon can also cause a patient to present with lacking elbow extension due to painful end-brace stretching of tendon. Now, coracobrachialis. This is the smallest of all the three muscles and it lies deep to biceps brachii. It gets originated from coracoid process of scapula to the shaft of humerus. It gets its nerve supply from musculocutaneous nerve. Its functions include flexion of arm at shoulder and weak adduction. Now, the overuse of coracobrachialis can lead to hardening of muscles. Symptoms such as pain in the shoulder and arm going down to the posterior part of the hand is most likely be due to the calcification or hardening of coracobrachialis. In more severe cases, musculocutaneous nerve entrapment can also occur. Now, posterior compartment consists of two muscles, that is triceps brachii and anconeus muscle. Triceps brachii is a three-headed muscle, long head, lateral head, and the medial head. Long head get originated from the infraglenoid tubercle of scapula. Lateral head get originated from the upper half of the posterior surface of humeral shaft, and the medial head get originated from the lower half of the posterior surface of the humeral shaft. They get inserted into the upper surface of olecranon process of ulna. It gets its nerve supply from radial nerve. Its action include extension of forearm at the elbow joint. Now, there are two types of triceps tendon injuries. Tendinitis, which is inflammation of tendon, and triceps tendon tear, which is rupture of tendon. Triceps tendon injuries most often involve damage at the elbow attachment site. Inflammation is more common triceps injury than the triceps tendon tear. Such tears are not common, but they do affect more men than women. Anconeus, it get originated in the lateral epicondyle of humerus, get inserted into the lateral surface of olecranon process, get its nerve supply from radial nerve. Its action include forearm extension at elbow joint. An anatomical variation of the anconeus is found in up to 1/3 of all humans. Anconeus trigger point causes pain right at above the elbow. This way, it can contribute to tennis elbow. Thank you.
Soumya, are you hearing me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, good presentation.
Thank
Yes.
you, ma'am.
Tell me the compartment, muscles of the anterior compartment of the arm.
Ma'am, it consists of 3 muscles: biceps brachii, brachialis, and coracobrachialis.
Tell me the origin of coracobrachialis.
Ma'am, coracobrachialis originates from the coracoid process of scapula.
Coracoid process of the scapula. Tell me the origin of biceps muscle.
Biceps brachii, ma'am, 2-headed muscle होती है. Long head originates from supraglenoid tubercle of scapula, and short head from coracoid process of scapula.
What is the insertion?
It gets inserted into the radial tuberosity of radius.
What is the clinical importance?
Ma'am, biceps brachii rupture most commonly seen in patient older than 40 years of age, and ma'am, trauma due to stress and overuse.
Overuse. Or what is the clinical importance of triceps muscle?
Triceps muscle.
Why it is called as triceps?
Ma'am, because it has 3-headed muscle.
What are the 3 heads?
A long head, lateral head, and the medial head.
Medial head. Okay. Next. Whose
Yes,
number?
ma'am.
Share your screen. Sribarna Das, na?
Yes, ma'am. A very good afternoon to respected principal, teachers, parents, and my fellow batchmates. I, Sribarna Das, a first-year BHME student of Rajasthan Vidyapeeth Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, a constituent unit of Janardhan Rai Nagar Rajasthan Vidyapeeth, deemed to be university, I'm going to present the topic, Anatomy of Liver and its clinical importance on behalf of Anatomy Department and under guidance of Dr. Sureka Patil. Now, looking at the features of liver, the liver is also called hepar, and it is the largest gland in our body. It is a soft, solid, and friable organ and is reddish-brown in color. It is situated in right upper quadrant of abdominal cavity and weighs about 1,600 grams in males and 1,300 grams in females. The liver occupies whole of the right hypochondrium, greater part of epigastrium, and extends into left hypochondrium, reaching up to left lateral line. Now, looking at the external features of liver, the liver is wedge-shaped and resembles a 4-sided pyramid laid on one side. Now, looking at the surfaces of liver, the liver has 5 surfaces. Anterior, right, and superior fall under diaphragmatic surface, and inferior and posterior fall under visceral surface. Out of these, the inferior surface is well defined and demarcated anteriorly by a sharp inferior border. Other surfaces are more or less continuous with each other. Lobes of liver. The liver is divided into right and left lobes by falciform ligament anteriorly and posteriorly, fissure for ligamentum teres inferiorly, and fissure for ligamentum venosum posteriorly. The right lobe is much larger than left lobe, forms 5/6 of liver, and contributes to 5 surfaces of liver. It presents caudate and quadrate lobes. The left lobe is smaller, forms 1/6 of liver, flattened from above downwards. Near the fissure for ligamentum venosum, its inferior surface presents a rounded elevation called omental tubosity or tuber omental. Now, looking at the relations of liver, peritoneal relations. Most of the liver is covered by peritoneum. The areas not covered by peritoneum are bare area, groove for inferior vena cava, fossa for gallbladder, area for attachment of lesser omentum, and fissure for attachment of ligamentum venosum. Visceral relations. Anterior surface of liver is triangular and slightly convex. The viscera related to it are diaphragm, xiphoid process, and anterior abdominal wall. Posterior surface is triangular. Its middle part shows a deep concavity for vertebral column. The viscera related with it are diaphragm, caudate lobe, fissure for ligamentum venosum, groove for inferior vena cava, and esophageal impression. On the superior surface, the superior surface is quadrilateral and shows a concavity in the middle. This is called cardiac impression. On each side of impression, the surface is convex to fit the dome of diaphragm. The diaphragm separates the superior surface from pericardium and heart in middle, and from pleura and lung on each side. The inferior surface of liver is quadrilateral and directed downwards, backwards, and to the left. On the inferior surface of left lobe, there is a concave gastric impression. The right surface of liver is quadrilateral and convex. It is related to diaphragm opposite the 7th to 11th ribs in mid-axillary line. It is separated from diaphragm and from pleura up to 10th rib and from lung up to 8th rib.
Segments of liver. The liver can be divided into right and left functional lobes on the basis of intrahepatic distribution of hepatic artery, portal vein, and biliary redox. There are 4 hepatic sectors and 8 hepatic segments. The numbering of segments are done in a counterclockwise manner. Nerve supply. The parasympathetic nerve supply is by preganglionic fibers of vagus nerve. Sympathetic innervation is by postganglionic fibers from celiac plexus. Lymphatic system. The lymph from upper surface drain into nodes in posterior mediastem, and lymph from lower surface drain into hepatic nodes and celiac nodes. Blood supply. The liver receives 20% of its blood supply through hepatic artery and 80% via portal vein. Embryology of liver. The liver develops from caudal end of foregut, and endodermal hepatic bud arises during 3rd week of development. The bud elongates cranially. It gives rise to small bud on its right side. Now, looking at the clinical anatomy of liver, the most common disease associated with liver is jaundice. The causes include acute inflammation of liver, obstruction of bile duct, inflammation of bile duct, hemolytic anemia, and Gilbert syndrome. The symptoms include yellowish and greenish pigmentation of skin and whites of eye, itchiness, abdominal pain, weight loss, vomiting, dark urine, paler than usual stool, and fatigue. Cirrhosis of liver. Under certain conditions like malnutrition, liver tissue undergoes fibrosis and shrinks. This is called cirrhosis of liver. Liver cirrhosis causes caput medusae at umbilicus. Inflammation of liver. Inflammation of liver is referred to as hepatitis. It may be infective hepatitis or amoebic hepatitis. Liver resection. Liver is the common site for metastatic tumors. Venous blood from GIT with primary tumor drains via portal vein into the liver. 80% of liver mass can be removed safely. The liver can regrow to its original size within 6 to 12 months. Liver transplantation. A right hemiliver comprising from segments 5th to 8th can be removed from a healthy donor and transplanted into a needy patient. It can be done in patients with end-stage liver disease. Now, I would like to conclude my presentation with an interesting fact about liver, that liver is the only organ that can regenerate itself. Thank you for being patient and kindly listening to my presentation. Also, thank you, Surekha ma'am, for guiding us.
Yes. Good presentation, Sri Varnadas.
Thank you, ma'am.
Tell me the location of liver.
Ma'am, the liver is located in the right hypochondrium, greater part of epigastrium, and it also extends into left hypochondrium, reaching up to left lateral line.
Left line. What is the meaning of bare area?
Bare area is not covered by peritoneum.
What is the meaning of peritoneum?
And peritoneum is basically the covering which covers most of the organs.
Most of the, it covers the abdomen. It covers the abdomen. Yes.
Okay.
What are the visceral relations which are present on the inferior surface of the liver?
Ma'am, fissure for ligamentum teres in the inferior border. There is a concave gastric impression on the inferior surface of liver.
Or there are a number of impressions are present on the liver. Posterior surface.
And posterior surface has diaphragm in the bare area and caudate lobe. It lies in the superior recess of lesser sac. Fissure for ligamentum venosum and groove for inferior vena cava and esophageal impression.
Esophageal impression. Or there is the impression of kidney.
Stomach. Duodenum.
Duodenum. What is the meaning of porta hepatis?
And porta hepatis.
Okay. Tell me the cirrhosis of liver.
Cirrhosis of liver is caused due to malnutrition. One of the causes can be malnutrition. And the liver tissue basically undergoes fibrosis and shrinks.
Yes. Okay, good. Next, Vidushi, share your screen. Are you hearing me, Vidushi?
Yes, ma'am.
After Vidushi, be ready, Yogesh.
the screen visible?
Yeah.
Have a seat. Good afternoon. Honorable Principal Sir, respected teachers and parents, and all my dear batchmates. Today, I'm Vidushi, a student of first year BHMS, Rajasthan Vidyapeeth Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Dabur, a constituent unit of Janardhan Rai Nagar, Rajasthan Vidyapeeth, deemed to be university. I'm going to present my topic on surface and clinical anatomy of stomach on behalf of Department of Anatomy, guided by Professor Dr. Surekha Patil Ma'am. So stomach is also known as gaster in Greek, which means belly. It's a muscular bag lies between esophagus and stomach. It lies in upper left part of abdomen and occupies epigastric, umbilical, and left hypochondriac region. Mean capacity of stomach is 1.5 to 2 liters in adults. It is approximately 25 centimeter long, and its shape depends on degree of tone of its muscle. Now, external features of stomach. Firstly, orifices. It has two orifices. Cardiac orifice at the lower end of esophagus. Here, cardiac orifice is present behind 7th costal cartilage, 2.5 centimeter from its junction with the sternum at the level of 11th thoracic vertebrae. Pyloric orifice lies in supine position, opens into duodenum, 1 to 2 centimeter right to the transpyloric plane. Now, curvature. It has two curvature, lesser curvature and greater curvature. Lesser curvature extends between pyloric orifice and cardiac orifice. Greater curvature forms the left border of the stomach, and at the angle of which cardiac notch is present with separate esophagus and greater omentum. Two surfaces are present. Anterior surface faces forward and upward, on posterior surface faces backward and downward. A line drawn through angular notch divides stomach into two parts, cardiac part and body part. Cardiac part further divided into fundus part, upper convex part. Above the horizontal line is fundus. Body part lies between fundus and pyloric antrum. Pyloric parts are divided by sulcus intermedius, present on greater curvature, into pyloric antrum and pyloric canal. Relations of stomach. It is covered by peritoneum on both the surfaces. At lesser and greater curvature, the durae extend to form lesser omentum and greater omentum respectively. Near fundus, the durae extend to form gastrosplenic ligament, and at the cardiac end, the peritoneum in the posterior surface is reflected onto the diaphragm and form gastrosplenic ligament. Bare area of stomach, small part posteriorly where diaphragm is present, and some part of greater and lesser curvature are bare. Distal relations. On the anterior surface, liver, diaphragm, transverse colon, and anterior abdominal wall are present. On the posterior surface, all the related structures form stomach bed and separated from stomach by cavity of lesser sac. These structures are diaphragm, spleen, splenic artery, splenic flexure of colon, transverse mesocolon, pancreas, left kidney, and left suprarenal gland. Now, blood supply of stomach. Blood on the lesser curvature, it is supplied by left gastric artery, branch of celiac artery, right gastric artery, and proper hepatic artery. On the greater curvature, it is supplied by right and left gastrosplenic artery, a branch of splenic artery, and gastroduodenal artery. Venous drainage. Right and gastric veins drains into caudal vein. Right gastroepiploic vein drains into superior mesenteric vein. Left gastroepiploic vein drains into splenic vein. Now, lymphatic drainage of stomach. Stomach is divided into 4 territories. Firstly, we talk about upper part of left 1/3. It drains into pancreatosplenic vein, then celiac vein. Right 2/3 part plus abdominal part of esophagus drains into left gastric nodes, then celiac nodes. Lower part of left 1/3 drains into right gastroepiploic nodes, then subpyloric nodes and hepatic nodes, and then celiac nodes. Pyloric part drains into 3 parts: subpyloric node, hepatic node, and left gastric node. All three finally runs into celiac node. Now, nerve supply of stomach. Sympathetic nerve supply is derived from T6 to T10 segment of spinal cord through greater splanchnic nerve, celiac plexus, hepatic plexus, and they supply to stomach. Parasympathetic nerve supply derived from vagal nerve through esophageal plexus and gastric nerve. Gastric nerve are divided into anterior gastric nerve. They are further divided into number of gastric branches and 2 pyloric branches. Posterior pancreatic nerve are divided into number of small gastric branches and larger celiac branches. Sympathetic nerve supply are vasomotor, motor to pyloric instinctor, but inhibitory to gastric musculation. Parasympathetic nerve supply are motor and secretomotor to stomach. They increase mobility, motility, and acid secretion. Now, interior of stomach. Mucosa. The stomach is covered by 4 layers: mucosa, submucosa, muscular cord, and serosa. Firstly, we talk about mucosa. When the stomach is empty, mucosa layer thrown into folds and form gastric ridge, which lies longitudinally on lesser curvature and may be irregular on other part. They have so many small depression known as gastric pit, in which gastric glands open. Part of lumen of stomach that lies along lesser curvature and longitudinal ridge is called gastric canal, which allow passage of liquid along the lesser curvature directly to the lower part of it, preventing it to spread in the other part of stomach, and that's why lesser curvature bears maximum insult of swallowed liquid, which make it vulnerable to peptic ulcer. Submucous layer made up of connective tissue, arteriole, and nerve plexus. Muscle cord have 3 fibers: longitudinal fibers, which are mostly superficial, inner circular fibers form pyloric sphincter, and oblique fiber are the best layer and form a well-developed bridge on each part of lesser curvature. Serous layer consists of peritoneal covering. A function of stomach, it acts as primarily reservoir of food. It softens and mixes the food with gastric juice. It produces gastric juice, which contain enzyme and play an important role in digestion of food. Hydrochloric acid also destroy harmful organisms present in food and drink, and absorption of some substances like alcohol, water, salt, and few drugs occur. Now, clinical anatomy of stomach. Gastric pain felt in epigastric region due to common nerve supply of stomach and epigastric, due to spasm of muscle. Peptic ulcer, common in blood group O, and sites for peptic ulcer are lower end of esophagus, stomach, first part of duodenum, and mucus diverticulum. Gastric carcinoma occurs in greater curvature and common in blood group A.
Yes, Vidushi.
Yes, ma'am.
Time is over. Good presentation. Tell me the parts of anatomical parts of stomach.
Cardiac part and pyloric part. Cardiac part further divided into fundus and body, and pyloric part further divided into pyloric antrum and pyloric canal by sulcus intermedius.
What is the meaning of stomach bed?
Stomach bed, ma'am, posteriorly, all the related structures to stomach form a stomach bed, and they are separated from stomach with a cavity of lesser curvature. There are 7 structures present, and sometimes we include spleen also, but it is separated by greater curvature, not by lesser curvature.
Not by lesser curvature. Okay. What is the clinical importance? Clinical importance of stomach?
Ma'am, most common is gastric pain, occurs in epigastric region due to spasm of muscle and common nerve supply. Second is peptic ulcer, which is common in blood group O and occurs in esophagus, stomach, first part of duodenum. Gastric ulcer most commonly occur in the lesser part of curvature due to gastric canal. Epithelium is thin on the lesser curvature, and nerve supply बहुत ज्यादा होती है, जिसकी वजह से वो एरिया बहुत सेंसिटिव होता है, इसकी वजह से वहाँ पे चांसेस ज्यादा होते हैं. And hyposthenic stomach and hypersthenic stomach, there are two conditions. Hyposthenic stomach is long and narrow, which are more prone for gastric ulcer, and hypersthenic stomach is short and broad, which are more prone for duodenal ulcer.
Okay, good. Yogesh, share your screen. After Yogesh. Yes, Devangi is ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, all of you. Myself, Yogesh Maurya, a student of Rajasthan Vidyapeeth Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital. Today, I am here to present anatomy of pancreas with clinical importance on behalf of Anatomy Department under the guidance of Professor and OCD of Department, Dr. Surekha Patil, ma'am. Pancreas is a soft lobulated and elongated exocrine and endocrine gland. The exocrine part secretes the pancreatic juice, which help in the digestion of lipid, carbohydrate, and protein. The endocrine part secretes the hormone which maintain glucose homeostasis. The healthy pancreas is creamy pink in color with a soft consistency and lobulated surface. Location: the pancreas lies more or less transversely across the posterior abdominal wall in the epigastric and left hypochondric region. It crosses the posterior abdominal wall obliquely from the concavity of the duodenum to the hilum of the spleen, approaches the level of T12 to L3 vertebra. Shape and size: the pancreas is J-shaped, set obliquely. The pancreas is divided from right to left into head, neck, body, and the tail. Its measurement are the length 12 to 15 cm, width 3 to 4 cm, thickness 1.5 to 2 cm, weight 80 to 19 grams. Part subdivision and relation: the pancreas is subdivided into 4 parts. Head with one process, uncinate process, neck, body with one process, tuberomental tail, and the tail. Head of pancreas: it is enlarged, flattened on the right end, which lies in the concavity of the C-shaped duodenal loop in front of the L2 vertebra. External feature: it has 3 borders: superior border, inferior border, and right lateral border. The superior border is related to the first part of the duodenum and the superior pancreatic duodenal artery. The inferior border is related to the third part of the duodenum and inferior pancreatic duodenal artery. The right lateral border is related to the second part of the duodenum and the terminal part of the bile duct and anastomosis between the two pancreatic duodenal artery. Two surfaces, anterior and posterior. The anterior surface is related from above to downward. First part of the duodenum, transverse colon, root of the transverse mesocolon, and the jejunum. The posterior surface is related to the inferior vena cava, terminal part of the renal vein, right cross of the diaphragm, and the bile duct. One process, that is uncinate process. It is a hook-like process from the lower and left part of the head. It extends toward the left behind the superior mesenteric vessel. Neck of pancreas: it is a constricted part of pancreas between its head and body. It is directed forward, upward, and to the left. External feature: it has 2 surfaces, anterior and the posterior. The anterior surface is related to the pylorus and the posterior surface is related to the termination of the superior mesenteric vein and the beginning of the portal vein. 2 border, upper and lower. The upper border is related to the first part of the duodenum and the lower border is related to the root of the transverse mesocolon. Body of pancreas: it is a elongated part of the gland extending from its neck to tail. It passes toward the left up midline with a slightly upward and backward inclination. It lies in the front of the vertebral column. External feature: it is triangular on cross section and it has 3 borders: anterior border, superior border, and inferior border. The anterior border provides attachment to the root of the transverse mesocolon. The superior border is related to the celiac artery above the tuberomental, hepatic artery to the right side, and the splenic artery to the left side. The inferior border is related to the superior mesenteric vessel at its right end. 3 surfaces, anterior, posterior, and inferior. The anterior surface is concave and directed forward and upward. It is related to the lesser sac and the stomach. The posterior surface is divided of the peritoneum and related to the aorta and the origin of the superior mesenteric vein, left kidney and left suprarenal gland, and the splenic vein. The inferior surface is covered by the peritoneum and related to the duodenojejunal flexure, coils of the jejunum, and left colic flexure. Tail of pancreas. It is a mobile. Unlike the other retroperitoneal part of the gland, it is the narrow and left end of the pancreas. It lies in the linear-renal ligament along with the splenic vessel. It contains largest number of isolate of Langerhans per unit of the tissue as compared to the other part of the gland. Relation. It is related to the visceral surface of the spleen between gastric and the colic impression. Duct of pancreas. There are two ducts, main and accessory, which drain the exocrine secretion into the duodenum. Main pancreatic duct. It begins in the tail and traverses the whole length near its posterior surface. At the neck, it turns downward and then right to enter the second part of the duodenum. It joins with the bile duct as pierces the duodenal wall to form the hepatopancreatic ampulla of water, which opens by a narrow mouth on the summit of the major duodenal papilla, about 8 to 10 centimeter distal to the pylorus. It receives the tributary smaller duct throughout its length at a right angle to its long axis in a herringbone pattern. Accessory pancreatic duct, duct of Santoni. It begins in the lower part of the head and then runs upward and medially crossing in front of the main pancreatic duct. It opens into the second part of the duodenum on the summit of the minor duodenal papilla, about 2 to 3 centimeters above the main pancreatic duct. In 40% cases, it communicates with the main pancreatic duct while crossing it. Arterial supply. It is supplied by the splenic artery. It is a branch of the celiac tongue. Superior pancreatic duodenal artery. It is a branch of the gastroduodenal artery. The inferior pancreatic duodenal artery. It is a branch of the superior mesenteric artery. Venous drainage of the pancreas mainly by the portal vein, superior mesenteric vein, splenic vein. Lymphatic drainage mainly into the following group of lymph nodes: pancreatic splenic node, celiac node, superior mesenteric node, and the pyloric node. Nerve supply of the pancreas. The sympathetic supply control the sympathetic supply is vasomotor, where the parasympathetic control the pancreatic secretion. Applied aspect. Carcinoma is a common in the head of the pancreas. Posteriorly placed bile duct lead to the persistent obstructive jaundice. It may be pressed upon the portal vein, causing ascites, or may be involved to stomach, causing pyloric obstruction. Deficiency of insulin causes the disease diabetes mellitus. Deficiency of the pancreatic enzyme causes digestive disturbance. Acute pancreatitis is a serious disease. It may be complication of the mumps. Pancreatic cyst is a large fixed tumor in the upper part of the abdomen along its median plane. They are often symptomless. Pancreatic pain is felt in the back as well as in front of the abdomen. Pancreatitis results in the collection of the fluid in the lesser sac, a pseudocyst of the pancreas. Annular pancreas is a developmental anomaly where a ring of the pancreatic tissue obstruct and surround the duodenum. Pancreatitis may be primary and may be due to the gallstone in the common bile duct. Pancreatitis may be causes inflammatory aneurysm, weakening and the bulging of the artery, and the thrombosis of the vein. Acute pancreatitis may be causes gastric stasis and be vomiting. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Surekha Patil ma'am, for guiding me and giving this opportunity.
Yogesh?
Yes, ma'am.
Good presentation, little bit lengthy. Tell me the location of pancreas.
Epigastric and left hypochondric region.
Epigastric and left hypochondric
region.
What are the parts of pancreas?
It has 4 parts. From right to left: head, neck, body, and tail.
What is the importance of tail of pancreas clinically?
It has more isolate of Langerhans per unit of the tissue as compared to the other part of the gland.
Or what is surgically? What is the importance?
Oh, ma'am.
Tell me the other clinical importance of pancreas.
Carcinoma is common in the head of the pancreas. Posteriorly placed bile duct lead to the persistent obstructive jaundice. It may press upon the portal vein, causing ascites. May be press upon the duodenum, pylorus, causing stomach, causing pyloric obstruction. And the deficiency of the insulin causes the disease diabetes mellitus.
Yes, this is a clinical importance. And what happens if there's Langerhans of the cells which are present in the tail of the pancreas. If it is injured or cut, what will happen during the, because this pancreas part, tail of the pancreas, which are related to the, which organ? Tail of the pancreas?
Spleen.
Yes, very good. Spleen. Whenever there is injury or any disease condition, a splenectomy, that time surgeon should be very carefully कि tail of the pancreas को injury ना हो जाए. ठीक है, good. Next, Devangi, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Share your screen. After Devangi, please be ready, Nidhi, then Seema, then Sheru.
Ma'am, shall I start?
Yes.
A very fine afternoon to Honorable Principal Sir, respected faculty, and all my dear batchmates. Proud to be a part of Rajasthan Vidyapeeth Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Dabok, Udaipur, a constituent unit of Janardhan Rai Nagar, Rajasthan Vidyapeeth, deemed to be university. This is Devangi Prajapati, present here to deal with the topic anatomy of ureter and urinary bladder on behalf of Department of Anatomy under the guidance of Dr. Surekha Patil Ma'am, HOD Anatomy Department. So let's begin with the ureter here. Introduction. It is the pair of narrow, thick-walled muscular tubes which conveys urine from kidney to the urinary bladder. Each ureter is about 25 centimeters long. Upper half lies in the abdomen and the lower half lies in the pelvis. Ureter begins within the renal sinus as a funnel-shaped dilation called renal pelvis. The pelvis issues from hilus of kidney, descends along the medial margin as partly behind it. Parts of the ureter are renal part, abdominal part, and the pelvic part. Relations. First of all, we'll deal with the relations of the renal pelvis. Renal pelvis has relations with the renal sinus, branches of the renal vessels that lie both in front and behind the renal pelvis. Outside the kidney, on the anterior side, on the right side, it has relations with renal vessels and second part of the duodenum. On the left side, it has relations with renal vessels, pancreas, peritoneum, jejunum, and posteriorly, it has relations with psoas major muscle. Abdominal part of ureter. Anteriorly on the right side, it has relations with the third part of the duodenum, gonadal vessels, peritoneum, root of mesentery, right colic vessels, terminal part of the ileum, ileocolic vessels. On the left side, it has relations with peritoneum, gonal artery, left colic vessel, sigmoid colon, sigmoid mesocolon. Posteriorly, it has relations with psoas major, lips of transverse processes, genitofemoral nerve. Medially on the right side, relations with inferior vena cava, and on the left side with left gonadal vein. Pelvic part of the ureter posteriorly contains internal iliac artery, commencement of anterior trunk, lumbosacral trunk, internal iliac vein. Laterally, it consists of fascia covering obturator indone, superior vesical artery, obturator vein, obturator nerve, obturator artery, inferior vesical vein, middle rector artery. In males and females, there's a bit difference. In males, doctors different process ureter superiorly from lateral to medial. Seminal vesicle lies below and behind the ureter. Vesical vein surrounds the terminal part of the ureter. And in females, ureter lies in extraperitoneal, connective, and lower. Uterine artery lies first above and then in the front of the ureter at a distance of about 2.5 centimeter. Terminal portion of the ureter lies anterior to the vagina. Blood supply is done by renal artery, gonadal artery, and colic vessels. Middle part is supplied by aorta, gonadal and iliac vessels. Pelvic part is supplied by vesical, middle, rectal, and uterine vessels. Nerve supply is done by sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves. Sympathetic nerve supplies from T10 to L11, and parasympathetic nerves supplies from S1 to S4. Clinical anatomy, starting with the ureteric colic. Severe pain occurs due to uteric stone or calculus, which causes spasm in ureter. Ureteric stone, it is liable to become impacted at one of the sides of the normal constriction of ureter. Duplex ureter, two ureter drain, renal pelvis on one side and duplex system. Ectopic ureter, single ureter and longer ureter insert more caudally and medially than normal. Utrocules, cystic dilation of lower end of the ureter. Now urinary bladder. Introduction. Urinary bladder is temporary storehouse of urine which gets emptied through the urethra. Its features are muscular reservoir of urine that lies in anterior part of the pelvic cavity. The bladder varies in size, shape, and position according to amount of urine it contains. External features are an empty bladder is tetrahedral in shape and has apex, neck base, and fundus. Its three surfaces are superior, right, and left inferolateral. Its four borders are two lateral, one anterior and one posterior. Upward bladder is void in shape and has apex and neck, and two surfaces are anterior and posterior. Its relations are apex is connected to umbilicus by median umbilical ligament, which represent obliterated embryonic urethus. Base in female related to uterine cervix and to vagina. In males, it has relations to upper part of the base, is separated from rectum by rectovesical pouch. Neck is lowest and most fixed part. It lies 3 to 4 centimeter behind lower part of the pubic symphysis. In male, smooth muscle bundle surrounds bladder, neck, and preprostatic urethra. In females, neck is related to pelvic fascia, which surrounds the upper part of the urethra. Superior surface. In males, completely covered by peritoneum and is in contact with the sigmoid colon and coils of terminal ileum. In females, peritoneum covers greater part of superior surface except for small area near the posterior border. Inferolateral surface. In males, each surface is related to pubis, puboprostatic ligament, retropubis fat, and levator ani. In females, relations are same except that puboprostatic ligaments replaced by pubovesical ligament. Arterial supply is done by superior and inferior vesical arteries. Additional supply is derived from obturator and inferior gluteal arteries, and in females from uterine and vagina. Venous drainage lying on inferolateral surface of bladder. There is a vesical venous plexus. Veins passes backwards in the posterior ligament of the bladder and drains into the internal iliac vein. Lymphatic drainage is done by external iliac nodes. A few more vessels may pass to internal iliac nodes or to lateral aortic nodes. Nerve supply is done by vesical plexus of nerves, which is made up of fibers derived from inferior hypogastric plexus. Now the clinical anatomy. Interior of bladder can be examined leaving by cystoscope. A descended bladder may be ruptured by injuries of lower abdominal wall. Chronic obstruction of outflow of urine by an enlarged prostate causes hypertrophy of bladder leading to trabeculated bladder. Urinary bladder is an important site for stone formation as concentrated urine lies here. Thank you. Hope you all liked this session. Have a nice day.
Devangi?
Yes, ma'am.
Good presentation. Tell me the anatomical parts of ureter.
Anatomical parts of ureter are renal part, abdominal part, and the pelvic part.
Pelvic part. Tell me what is the meaning of trigone?
Trigone is the place where three veins connect each other. Three parts of the ureter are connected. These three, renal part, abdominal part, and pelvic part, are connected.
What is the inner? What are the inner part of urinary bladder? Inner, not outer. Yeah, internal aspect. So tell me the anatomical parts of urinary bladder.
Anatomical parts of the urinary bladder.
So next.
Apex, neck, base, and fundus.
Okay. Next. Who is next?
Yes, ma'am.
Nidhi. Yes, share your screen. After Nidhi, Seema, and Sheru last.
Good afternoon, respected principal, sir, respected teacher, and all my dear batchmates. I'm student from Rajasthan Vidyapeeth Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, a constituent unit of Janardhan Rai Nagar Rajasthan Vidyapeeth, deemed to be university. Today I'm going to represent my topic on behalf of Department of Anatomy under the guidance of Surekha Patil ma'am, and my topic is anatomy of uterus. So let's take a glance at my outline of presentation. So definition. Uterus is called as womb, also known as hystera. Uterus is a childbearing organ in female situated in the pelvis between bladder and rectum. It protects and provides nutrition to fertilized ovum.
Size and shape. Uterus is pyriform in shape. It is about 7.5 centimeter long, 5 centimeter broad, 2.5 centimeter thick. It weighs about 30 to 40 grams. It is divisible into an upper expanded part called body and a lower cylindrical part called cervix. The junction of these two parts is marked by a circular constriction called isthmus. Now, normal position and angulations. Normally, the long axis of the uterus forms an angle of about 90 degrees with the long axis of vagina. The forward tilting of the uterus related to the vagina is called anteversion. The backward tilting of the uterus relative to vagina is called retroversion. Parts of uterus. It has 4 parts: fundus, 2 surfaces, anterior and posterior, 2 lateral borders, and 4th is cervix. The fundus is formed by the free upper end of the uterus. Fundus lies above the opening of uterine tube. It is convex like dome covered with peritoneum. Each lateral border is rounded and convex. The uterine tube open into the uterus at the upper end of this border. It is lower cylindrical part of the uterus. It is about 2.5 centimeter long and slightly wider in the middle of the lower part of cervix. The space between it and the vaginal wall are called vaginal fornices. The cervical canal open into with the vagina by an opening called external os. Now, arterial supply. The uterus is supplied chiefly by the 2 uterine arteries, which are markedly enlarged during pregnancy, partly by the ovarian arteries. Apart from the uterus, the artery also gives branches to vagina, medial 2/3 of the uterine tube, ovary, ureter, structure present in the broad ligament. Now, lymphatic drainage. Lymphatics of the uterus begin at the 3 intercommunicating network: endometrial, myometrial, and subperitoneal. These plexus drain into the lymphatic on the side of the uterus. Of these, the upper lymphatic from the fundus and the upper part of the body drain mainly into the aortic nodes. Venous drainage. The veins from a plexus along the lateral border of the uterus. The plexus drain through the uterine, ovarian, and vaginal veins into the internal iliac veins. Nerve supply. The uterus is richly supplied by both sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve through the inferior hypogastric and ovarian plexus. Sympathetic nerve from T13 L1 segment of spinal cord produce uterine contraction and vasoconstriction. Age and reproductive changes. It occurs at 5 stages of life: in fetal life, at puberty, during menstruation, during pregnancy, and in old age. Now, histology. The mucous membrane is called the endometrium, which undergoes slightly changes in 3 phases. In one menstrual cycle, there is no submucous coat. Myometrium is thickest layer made up of an outer and inner longitudinal coat and middle thick circular coat with lots of arterioles. Now, clinical anatomy. Colpotomy and colporrhaphy. Posterior colpotomy done to drain the pus from the pouch of Douglas. Intrauterine contraceptive device is used to prevent implantation of fertilized oocyte. Uterus is common site of formation of fibroids. Now, salpingitis. Inflammation of uterine tube is called salpingitis. Sterility. Inability to have a child is called sterility. Hysterosalpingography is a radiological technique by which the cavity of uterus and the lumina of the tubes can be visualized after injecting a radio-opaque oily dye into the uterus. Ovarian cyst. The development arrest of the ovarian follicles may result in the formation of 1 or more small ovarian cysts. Thank you, guided by Surekha Patil, ma'am.
Nidhi, are you hearing me?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me the parts of uterus.
There are 4 parts: fundus, 2 surfaces, anterior or vesicle, posterior or intestinal, 2 lateral borders, and 4th is cervix.
Cervix. Tell me the histological features of uterus.
Histological features.
Tell me the clinical importance of uterus.
Clinical importance, ma'am. Colpotomy and colporrhaphy. Posterior colpotomy is done to drain the pus from pouch of Douglas. Intrauterine contraceptive devices. Uterus is a common site of formation of fibroids. And sterility, salpingitis, that is inflammation of uterine tube, and hysterosalpingography.
Next.
Yes, ma'am.
Share your screen.
Very good afternoon to Principal Sir, my teachers, and my classmates. I, Seema Pujari, student of Rajasthan Vidyapeeth Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Dabok, a constituent unit of Janardhan Rai Nagar, Rajasthan Vidyapeeth, deemed to be university. My topic is on hip joint on the behalf of Department of Anatomy under the guidance of Surekha Ma'am Patil. This is my index, which I am going to discuss with you all. Type, ball and socket variety of synovial joint, articulation surface, the head of femur, articulate with acetabulum of hip bone to form a hip joint. The head of femur form more than half sphere and covered with hyaline cartilage except a fovea capitis. There are 7 ligaments. The first ligament, fibrous capsule, is attached on hip bone to acetabulum labrum. Capsule is made up of 2 types of fiber. The outer fiber are longitudinal and inner circular one are called zona orbicularis. Longitudinal point are the best developed anterior superiorly neck of femur of retinaculi. Second ligament, the ligament of head of femur. Rounded ligament or ligamentum teres is the flat and triangular ligament. The apex is attached on fovea capitis, the base transverse ligament, and the margin of acetabulum notch. The third ligament, acetabulum labrum. It is a fibrous cartilaginous rim attached to margin of acetabulum. It narrows the mouth of acetabulum. This helps in holding the head of femur in the position. Fourth ligament, iliofemoral ligament, inverted Y-shaped, strongest ligament in the body. Pubofemoral ligament, the fifth ligament. Pubofemoral ligament join the inferior medially. It also triangular in shape. Superiorly, it is attached to obturator membrane. Inferiorly, if merged with anterior inferiorly, part of capsule with lower band of iliofemoral ligament. The sixth ligament, transverse ligament of acetabulum. It is the part of acetabulum labrum which bridges the acetabular notch. The notch is thus converted into foramen, which transmit acetabular vessels, nerve to the joints. Ischiofemoral ligament, the last ligament, comparatively weak. It covers the joint posteriorly. Its fiber are twisted, extending from ischium to acetabulum. The fiber of ligament, zona orbicularis, some of them attached to greater trochanteric. Relation of hip joint, posterior relation, the joint from below upward. It is related to following muscles. The tendon of externus covered with quadratus femoris, obturator internus, gemelli, piriformis, cystic nerve, and gluteus maximus muscles. Superior relations reflected the head of rectus covered by gluteus minimus, medius partly by gluteus maximus. Anterior relation, tendon of iliopsoas separated by the joint by brusa, femoral nerve, femoral artery, and nerve, vein. Inferior relation, lateral fiber, pectineus, obturator externus. In addition, there are gracilis, adductor longus, brevis, magnus, hamstrings muscles. Muscles producing movements at the hip joint. Flexion, psoas major and iliacus, pectineus, rectus, femoris, sartorius, and adductor participate in early stage. Extension, gluteus maximus, hamstring. Adduction, adductor longus, brevis, and magnus. Abduction, gluteus medius and minimus. Tensor fasciae lati, sartorius. Medial rotation, tensor fasciae lati, the anterior fiber of glutei medius and minimus. Lateral rotation, two obturator, two gemelli, quadratus femoris. Piriformis, gluteus maximus, sartorius. Blood supply, the hip joint is supplied by obturator artery, two circumflex femoral and two gluteal arteries, the medial and lateral circumflex femoral artery. Nerve supply, femoral nerve and obturator nerve. Clinical anatomy, coxa vara, neck shaft angle is reduced from normal angle. Coxa vagina, the neck shaft angle is increased from its normal angle. Fractured in subcapital fracture, transcervical fracture, intertrochanteric fracture, subtrochanteric fracture, more common in age of 40 to 60 years and in adult fracture. Blood supply, there is damage of retinaculi artery in subcapital fracture of femur leading to avascular necrosis. Thank you, ma'am, guided by Surekha Patil, ma'am. And you make a very wonderful platform where we express ourselves and build our confidence more.
क्या बात है सीमा, good presentation. Yes, hip joint, shoulder joint, these or pancreas, these topics are very lengthy topics actually. Just tell me the ligaments of hip joint.
First ligament, fibrous capsule. Second, iliofemoral ligament. Third, pubofemoral ligament. Fourth, ischiofemoral ligament. Fifth, ligament head of femur. And sixth ligament, acetabulum labrum. Seventh ligament, transverse acetabulum ligament.
Good. Next. Who is next? Shero, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Shero, are you ready, beta?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Principal Sir and Ma'am and everyone. I am Sherwanu, a student of Rajasthan Vidyapeeth Homeopathic Medical College, a constitute of Janardhan Rai Nagar, Rajasthan Vidyapeeth deemed to be university. I would like to present my presentation topic on the topic anatomy of kidney with its clinical importance, under guided by Dr. Surekha ma'am. The kidneys are a pair of excretory organs situated on the posterior abdominal wall, one on each side of the vertebral column behind the peritoneum location. The kidneys occupies the epigastric, lumbar and umbilical regions. Vertically, they extend from the upper border of 12th thoracic vertebra, the body center of third lumbar vertebra. The right kidney is slightly lower than the left kidney. The left kidney is little narrower to the medial plane than the right. External features: each kidney is being shaped. It has two poles, upper poles and lower poles. And upper pole is broad, is close contact with corresponding suprarenal gland, and lower pole is a pointed. The two surface, anterior surface and posterior surface, and two border, lateral border is medial border. Lateral border is a convex and medial border is a concave. The middle part of the medial border is a depressed and is known as hilum. Measurement: color reddish brown, length 11 centimeter length. The left kidney is a longer and narrower than the right, width 6 centimeter, broad, thickness 3 centimeter thick, weight 150 gram in male and 135 gram in female. Coverings: it has 3 coverings. First layer, innermost fibrous capsule, and second layer, middle fatty capsules, and perinephric fat it is a collection of fatty tissue. Second layer. Next slide. And the third layer, the false capsule, made it of a renal fascia. It has 2 layers, anterior and posterior, and relations. Anterior relations, the right kidney, suprarenal gland, liver, duodenum, right colic flexor, colis of small intestine, renal vein, and the left kidney is anterior relations, renal artery, suprarenal gland, spleen, stomach, pancreas, left colic flexor, colis of small intestine, and posterior relations. The posterior relations, subcostal nerve, iliohypogastric nerve, ilioinguinal nerve, diaphragm, transverse abdominis, pardus, lumborum, and cross section of kidney, renal cortex, outer 1 centimeter, renal midline, renal columns, pyramids, papilla, and lobe of kidney, pyramids, and it has its overlying cortex and microscopic structure and histology. The kidneys may be regarded as a collection of millions of uriniferous tubules. Each uriniferous tubules consists of an excretory part called nephron and of collecting tubules. Each kidney contains over 1 to 2 million nephrons and 1,000 collecting ducts. Blood supply, arterial supply, and nerve supply. Arterial supply, renal arteries, which are the direct branches of abdominal aorta and are large in size. And nerve supply, sympathetic fibers derived from T10 L1 segment and parasympathetic fibers from vagus nerve and venous drainage. Renal venous ends in inferior vena cava. The left renal vein is longer than the right, and lymphatic drainage into lateral aortic nodes. And clinical anatomy. Next slide. One common congenital conditions of kidney is a polycystic kidney, which leads to hypertension. Next slide. Devangi next. In cases of chronic renal failure, dialysis needs to be done. It can be done as a perinephric dialysis and hemolysis. The kidneys are likely to be injured by two parenteric injured to lower thoracic as they may also be injured by kicks in the renal angle between the vertebral column's 12th rib. Kidney is likely to have stones, so as urine gets contracts, the kidney stone lies on the body of vertebra and gallstone lies anterior to body of vertebra. Thank you. Thank you very much. Guided by Suretha ma'am.
शेरू आज सच में शेर लगी, हाँ इतने दिन में. Good presentation. Tell me the anatomical parts of kidney.
Anatomical part. Renal cortex and renal medulla.
ये सब लोग वीडियो पे आ जाओ. सीमा कहाँ गई? सीमा, वेर इज सीमा? नसीमा आ गए? यस सीमा.
यस मैम.
कैसा रहा आपका एक्सपीरियंस आज? How was experience in the seminar presentation?
It was very good. It was my first express where I speak on the stage.
अच्छा, good.
Yes ma'am.
और क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा? क्या सीखा आपने? What you have learned from this seminar presentation? क्या क्या सीखा आपने इसमें से?
सबसे पहले तो हमारा कॉन्फिडेंट बिल्ड करना सीखा एंड द प्रैक्टिस मेन ना परफेक्ट. जितनी प्रैक्टिस आप करोगे उतना आप बहुत अच्छा लेवल अचीव करोगे. एंड मैम आपसे मुझे रियल में बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलता है. आप हमें डांटते हो और सही राह पे लेके जाते हो.
मतलब लगा वो डांट के अंदर प्यार आज थोड़ा सा पता लगा, नहीं?
यस मैम.
अच्छा, व्हाट इज योर एक्सपीरियंस निधि? आपका क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा?
Ma'am, I had a great experience today, and ma'am, you guided me a lot, and it really boosted my confidence too. And मैंने पहले भी बहुत presentation दिए, but मैम अभी college में first time था, so I really feel very happy, and my confidence is very good now.
Yes, Sakshi, what's your experience?
Ma'am, it was really good. It made me learn that topic really well. Shoulder joints is a very important topic, and because of this presentation, I've learned that topic really hard. From the bottom of my heart, I'm saying it's a very nice topic, and I got to learn this topic very well. So thank you so much.
Yes, Devangi, what's your experience? Mute, ये करो. आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी. आवाज नहीं आ रही है. Dr. Priyanka, are you hearing?
Ma'am, had a great experience, and getting appreciated by you is like a very difficult task.
Very difficult task, na?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello,
yes.
ma'am.
Are you hearing? Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Soumya, what's your experience? क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा आपके? क्या सीखा आपने?
Ma'am, it was good, and we have learned how to depict our topic in a limited time, how to express ourselves, and confidence level we build up proper.
Yes, Vidushi, what's your experience?
Firstly, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to represent ourselves, and thank you to all participants to listen to us till the end. It was a very great experience to me. I learned a lot of things from this, like time management, topic भी पूरा अच्छे से go through हो चुकी हूँ उससे, and confidence बहुत ज़्यादा build हुआ है इस बार मेरा.
Good.
बहुत अच्छा experience.
Yogesh?
यस मैम।
व्हाट योर एक्सपीरियंस, क्या एक्सपीरियंस लिया आपने, क्या सीखा इससे?
मैम मैं पहली बार प्रेजेंटेशन दे रहा हूँ तो बहुत अच्छा लगा और आपके मार्गदर्शन में हुआ। आपने जो बताया था टाइम, उसके हिसाब से मैंने प्रैक्टिस किया और टाइम मैनेजमेंट को ध्यान में रखा।
अच्छा, नई चीज क्या सीखे आपने? योगेश, आर यू हियरिंग मी?
हेलो।
हाँ, नई चीज क्या सीखी आपने?
मैम मैंने आपने जैसा बताया था उसके हिसाब से टॉपिक की प्रिपरेशन अच्छे से करना है और मेन चीज उनका भी मैनेजमेंट करना है,
टाइम मैनेजमेंट। गुड। यस नसीम, व्हाट इज योर एक्सपीरियंस? Because your topic is also very lengthy topic. Yes. क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा आपका?
I learned to push my.
आपकी आवाज
my
नहीं
voice not clear, ma'am.
हाँ, now it is clear.
Ma'am, I learned to push my limits in all aspects in time management and in preparations and in PPT management. I learned in the first time in my life to prepare PPTs online. Okay. So thank you for it.
Okay. Yes, Naudita, आपका क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा?
First of all, a great thank you, Surekha ma'am, for giving this opportunity to us, and all the participants, the teachers, the parents, and my friends to listen me. Okay. This was my first online presentation, and by giving this, my confidence level was boosted up.
Yes, good. Yes.
And by presenting over here, ma'am, I realized that it's very difficult to all teachers to teach us. You do a great effort.
Yes, है ना? जब कैसा होता है ये जब ये चीज खुद के ऊपर आते हैं ना, बोलना तो बहुत इजी हो जाता है, मैडम ऐसा पढ़ाते हैं, मैडम ऐसा, लेकिन जब वही चीज अपन खुद करते हैं तो लगता है यस ना, ये इट इज अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टास्क।
हम कितने टाइम से टॉपिक के लिए तैयार कर रहे हो और आप हमें डेली हर नए टॉपिक टीच करते हो बहुत बढ़िया तरीके से। मैं वो यहाँ पे आके पता चलता है कि कैसा होता है।
यस, ये रियलाइजेशन होना बहुत बहुत जरूरी है। इट इज अ वेरी गुड एक्सपीरियंस, है ना? और जो हम खुद एक्सपीरियंस लेते हैं ना, वो कभी भूलते नहीं है। ये इसीलिए एक्सपीरियंस होना भी बहुत जरूरी है और लेना भी जरूरी है, उसका महसूस करना। यस रीत, व्हाट इज योर एक्सपीरियंस? आपका एक्सपीरियंस क्या रहा?
Yes, ma'am, indeed, it was an amazing experience. It helped us gain a lot of knowledge, deep knowledge about our topic as well and about other topics as well. Thank you so much for guiding us.
Okay. Sribarna Das, are you hearing me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what's your experience? What you have learned from this presentation?
Ma'am, I actually have a lot of anxiety in presenting in front of people. So it sort of minimized it and also helped me present confidently in front of people.
Yes, good. Janvi, आपका क्या experience रहा?
Yes, ma'am, it was a good opportunity for us to express ourselves, and we are improving our skills, communication, and different knowledge in different topics with my presentation and my fellow batchmates presentations, and how to networking with others. And at last, I would like to thank you for renewing our motivation and confidence level. Thank you so much.
Okay, good. शेरू, आपका एक्सपीरियंस क्या रहा?
मैम, मैंने तो बहुत कुछ सीखा है आपसे, और मतलब मैं सोच भी नहीं सकती कि मेरे से होगा या नहीं। मैं तो ऐसे सोच रही थी, पर थोड़ा बहुत कर पाई, उसके लिए भी आपने मुझे बहुत गाइड किया। थैंक यू सो मच।
मैंने कहा था ना, जहाँ पे हार्ड वर्क होता है, जहाँ पे पॉजिटिविटी होती है और इनर, सबसे पहले तो विश्वास होना बहुत जरूरी है। मैंने कहा था ना कि आप बहुत अच्छा करोगे, एंड टुडे इज अ वेरी गुड प्रेजेंटेशन, है ना? कल मुझे लग रहा था आप कर पाओगे क्या नहीं, लेकिन टुडे व्हाट आई ऑब्जर्व, एवरीबॉडी इज ऑब्जर्व, योर प्रेजेंटेशन इज अ गुड। आप हिंदी में
बहुत सीखा, प्रेजेंटेशन करके फर्स्ट बार ऑनलाइन किया तो भी उससे भी बहुत कुछ मिला।
Dr. Priyanka, Sheru is from the Hindi medium. शी इज अ हिंदी मीडियम, और उसको बहुत डर था मैडम मैं कैसे कर पाऊंगी, कैसा पर, और हमेशा बोलती मैडम मुझे आपसे जैसे आपके जैसा बात करना है, आप जैसा बात करते ना मेरे आ जाएगा, वो कोई ये नहीं है, नहीं मैं हिंदी मीडियम, कोई नहीं, आप तो सब पढ़ाई करना है, ग्रामर में नहीं ध्यान देना, मेडिकल वर्ड में आपको ध्यान देना और समझना है चीजों का, और आप अपनी लैंग्वेज में उसको एक्सप्रेस करना है। रिया,
बेसिकली नॉलेज ही इम्पोर्टेंट है कि हम कितना गेन करते हैं,
कितना
और
गेन
आपने ये इतना अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म दिया। आई कैन सी सिंस लास्ट 3 days कि इट्स अमेजिंग, मतलब हर लेवल के बच्चों को छुआ है। ये बहुत ही बात है कि उनको एक इक्वालिटी डेवलप हो गई ग्रेजुअली।
यस यस यस,
वो एक इंफीरियरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स जो है वो खत्म हो रहा है धीरे धीरे बच्चों में।
धीरे धीरे
आई कैन डू, आई कैन डू। तो टू यू
Ria, what is your experience? Ria, are you hearing me? Mic start करो आप।
Can you listen me?
Yeah.
मैम मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, और मुझे पहले बहुत ज़्यादा हेजिटेशन हो रहा था कि मैं ऐसा कर पाऊंगी या नहीं, बट अब मुझे थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंट है कि मैं हाँ कर सकती हूँ और मैं करके दिखाऊंगी।
यस, वेरी गुड वेरी गुड वेरी गुड,
मैं करूंगी मैम।
यस, ऑल द बेस्ट ऑल द बेस्ट, गुड गुड गुड। दिव्या, तुम कुछ कहना चाहोगे? तुम्हें कुछ कहना है?
Ma'am, a big thanks to you for providing us with this platform where we can present ourselves so confidently, because it's our first experience to present ourselves online, because in our classrooms we present in front of all our batchmates, but here we present in front of different teachers, batchmates, parents. It was a great experience. Thank you, ma'am.
Good, good. That means you got a different experience, good experience. Ultimately, what is your motto? है ना, क्या मोटो है कि आपका सबसे मेन फ्रॉम दिस एक्स्ट्रा एक्टिविटीज यू डेवलप योर इनर स्ट्रेंथ, है ना, इनर पावर्स, जो भी आपकी इनर क्वालिटीज है वो क्वालिटीज आपके बाहर होता है। एक्चुअली यू हैव दैट क्वालिटी, बट आप उसको डेवलप नहीं करते हैं, इसको यूज नहीं करते। एवरीबडी हैविंग द सेम ब्रेन, बट फर्क कहाँ पे आता है? आपका प्रैक्टिस, आपकी मेहनत, आपका हार्ड वर्क। तो यू गॉट, ये बहुत जरूरी है। आप मतलब हर चीज आपका, हर एक्सपीरियंस आपको नई चीज, मतलब नई एक्सपीरियंस देती है और हम उससे सीखते हैं, है ना। डॉक्टर प्रियंका, यू वांट टू से समथिंग?
मैम, I think this is the conclusion, last part.
Yes, yes, yes.
Part of the whole thing. I have no word. Basically, very frankly, I am speechless because कल का जो था और उसके पहले जो मैंने आपका YouTube के थ्रू वेबिनार देखा, आज का तो अटेंटिव नहीं रह पाई एक्चुअली। In all, I felt
आवाज नेटवर्क शायद। हेलो,
क्योंकि ये तराशा है ना एक तरह से, वो चीज है। तो आई एम थैंकफुल टू यू, आई एम थैंकफुल टू ऑल पार्टिसिपेंट्स, और ऐसे ही सबका एंथुसियाज्म बना रहे, और एक जो लर्निंग कैपेसिटी है, लर्निंग पावर है, विदाउट एनी हेजिटेशन, विदाउट एनी इंफीरियरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स, यू आर गुड, यू आर, आपके अंदर एक फीलिंग आनी चाहिए, नहीं आई कैन डू माई सेल्फ और आई एम गुड इनफ। वो एक उस चीज को लेके ये सारी थीम होती है कि एक प्लेटफॉर्म जो मैम ने प्रोवाइड करवाया है लर्निंग के लिए और सारा आपका नॉलेज के लिए, तो मैम इट वाज गुड। और आई एम थैंकफुल फॉर वाइस चांसलर साहब, जिनका तो हमेशा ब्लेसिंग हमारे साथ रही है। उनकी थीम ही यही है, उनका विजन ही बहुत बड़ा और बहुत ही एक आदर्श है हमारे लिए। उन्हीं की इंस्पिरेशन से हम ये सारा चीज एकेडमिक एक्टिविटी करते हैं। तो स्टूडेंट्स के लिए एक मैसेज मेरे तरफ से भी है कि आप इस चीज को कायम रखें और अपने उस पे रहे। हमारा जो एम ये कंस्ट्रक्शन है, डिस्ट्रक्शन की तरफ हमें नहीं जाना है। जैसा मैम आपको एक पावर और अपनी इनर्ट जो हिडन टैलेंट है उसको एक्सप्लोर करने के लिए आपको इतना बड़ा सपोर्ट है, गाइडेंस है। तो मैम थैंक यू सो मच। थैंक्स टू आवर प्रिंसिपल सर, थैंक्स टू ऑल फैकल्टीज, और गॉड ब्लेस यू ऑल स्टूडेंट्स कि इतना अच्छे से परफॉर्म किया। थैंक यू मैम।
थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.